some people's obscuration and negative actions are the such that in speed of the effort they put into the Dharma, they fail to develop any of the 8 qualities, right qualities in their mind. Their backbone of the bad actions has overwhelmed them, and they will lose confidence in their teachings without perceiving that is it all due to their own past actions. And sometimes in this kind of situations, I think we need to recognize that. And we put effort into the Dharma diligently. But according the past negative action or the obscurations, and they fail to develop Dharma to what we study. Any of the right qualities in their mind, difficult to the acting or act according to the Dharma. And as much as we study, contemplate, meditate, learn Dharma or receive the teaching of Dharma, but our body, speech, mind, positive qualities never to grow up, never increase. And that is like a kind of maybe in the past negative actions, karma. Then it's like sometimes kind of the losing confidence in the teaching, or it doesn't work. And sometimes this kind of happened. We can to say, I'm sick, I'm practicing Dharma, okay, recite mantra, doing something, but sickness doesn't getting better. Then it's like, why am I doing? I have problems, a lot of different things, but I cannot to pacify through this kind of meditating practice, like kind of the prayers, whatever I do, and then there's not much kind of result. Then we lost confidence into the Dharma or the teaching. And this is we cannot to say there's no benefit from the listen Dharma, meditating Dharma, or the practice Dharma. And this sometimes according to our past negative actions, according to obscuration, negative tendencies, according that immediately something to happen to change is quite difficult. And therefore even the Buddha and enlightened to say, and we done some negative things, this maturation is coming immediately, and then immediately to making the disappear or to change, it is necessary, depends on our own self. And what does it means? And this means we need immediately serious, honest, truthfully to pick up the medicine of the pith instructions. And then maybe we can to immediately change. And like for example, some butchers and some practitioners, and butchers many years did the negative things, suffered, but certainly arrived the pith instruction of the compassion. And to believe the compassion is really arise their minds, then they completely change. Even the butchers holding the knife to immediately to be the enlightened man. And also some practitioners, years they practice Dharma, and they are not really take the properly, correctly, but then there's not much result. But if seriously coming into the Dharma, pith instructions, the compassions, they become the immediate enlightenment, like Asamga's history. He 12 years prayed the Buddha Mutayana, nothing happened. But certainly then it's like an incontrivable meaning of the compassions arrive into his mind, then immediately to be enlightenment. And therefore, to really to serious, to practice, to take the medicine of the Dharma, then there is the curing process. It's 100% there. And like without hesitation, with hesitation, with doubt, and with like kind of the unconfidence or lost confidence, then to practice something, then sometimes this kind of happened, Or I practiced 20 years, nothing happened. Or I practiced 100 years, nothing happened. Why I'm doing this? This is kind of too much expectations. It is necessary to talk more. Lost confidence. And it's like Dharma is coming or not. They're saying it's like you need to change your body, speech, minds. And you change yourself, then there is the process. And like this. And yesterday we are talking about the seed of the pineapples. And if we put the pineapple into the ground, if this pineapple's seed itself is nothing change, or maybe something wrong, and maybe it's the rootant, or maybe it's the seed is a little burned, but we put in the ground, put all the fertilizer, manure, but seed is never grow up, then we can complain to the circumstances. But we can't complain, cannot lose the confidence to the circumstance. The circumstances of the manure, fertilizers works very well, but seed itself has big problems. And then it's like the circumstances, what they can do. Like this, our mind is like full of the negative and obscuration and the negative action on the pastors, and nothing to change. Then it's like a kind of to practice Dharma or prayer or something to do. Then there's not much benefit, and then we sometimes lose confidence. This is sometimes many people happened. And that is need to analyze more and more. Lose confidence into the teaching Dharma is very easily with like kind of our expectations. I heard many centers, many our Europeans, and like a kind of first time they are very much interested to the teaching of the Mahamudra Dzogchen. And when I received these teachings, and those teachers, like teachings really profound, and to say nature, I can to introduce nature of mind, and looks like very much fancy teaching, and to say gazing, postures, everything, And then as a student, is also very much hurry up. The expectation is enormous. It's really enormous. I make the joke, sometimes it's like the meditations, gazing into the sky. This is the way of the gazing that the Mahamudra Zopa Chimbo, or kind of to see it, which kind of postures. Or this is according to Mahamudra, or now you should to be enlightenment, something to say in sound of the home pits. And then is their expectations, maybe these teachings after I would be the enlightenment. This retreat, 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, after I become enlightenment. Then is of course with expectations, how we can become expectation, clinging, and grasping. It is disturbing emotion. This is obscuration. This is negative actions. With that, how we become the enlightenment. And then it's like sometimes then they lost confidence, says nothing, it doesn't work. Someone's like, look, you're the internet, say, I follow the 25 years, I studied 25, 30 years, but my mind is same as the before now. So, of course, if we do not to really to change ourselves, how the circumstances to change. And then is lost confidence, big kind of damage to our own self. And like this, and therefore, if this kind of something happened, we need to taking care. And this is also is the obstacles, making the non-freedom to practice Dharma. Those who are in the servitude to the someone else, and they have lost their autonomy, may want to take up Dharma, but the person who dominated them does not allow them to practice it. I mean, this is the like truth. Sometimes it's like enslavement, or it's like kind of the servitude of someone else, and like they are not haven't got any autonomic freedoms, and they take up, they like cannot, maybe they want to take up Dharma, want to practice, but they're like kind of the dominated others' power, others' strength. Then they are kind of not allowed to practice the Dharma. This is also obstacle, hindrance, is no freedoms in order to practice Dharma. Some people take up Dharma out of fear for this present life. And yesterday we say it's like enter into the Dharma. There's two kind of the purposes. One is like a kind of they enter to the Dharma, and for sake of their own fear, from the protector of the fears, that they might lack food or clothing. This is like kind of the enter into the Dharma, but expecting kind of the excellent to become the. Maybe it's like according to the Dharma, maybe I will get good food, good clothes. And this or the experience other inflictions, like negative emotion. And but since they have no deep convictions in the Dharma, and like kind of the convictions is not really deeply, and is like enthusiastic, and really deeply they are not really to want to practice Dharma. It is like from the deep of the heart want to practice Dharma. It is not like this. There are no deep convictions in the Dharma. They give themselves up to their old habit and get involved in things that are the not Dharmas. And like a kind of the old behaviors. My nose is running, sorry. the allergies more and more, yes? All these habitual tendencies want to doing different things. This old maybe is like killing, stealing, doing funny, like kind of the interest to collect food, clothes, and also it's like very much interest self. This kind of involvement, think that not really freedoms to practice the Dharma. And then others like are the the imposed who. It is like kind of go for the hypocritical practitioners. Through a pretense of the Dharma, patently looks like they try to win positions, and through the practicing the Dharma, in order to receive some positions, service, and prestige in the front of the others, and like a kind of nice, pleasant to receive the people say things, and to become the kind of the famous and prestige in the front of the other day, assume the guise of the practitioners looks like, but in their mind they are only interested in this life for the like kind of the our own vain positions. So they are the far remote from the path of the liberation. And then it's exactly the kind of the finally maybe lost confidence to the teachings, and like only the concerning thinking about in this life, then is the liberations more and more far. These are the 8 circumstances that render it impossible to continue practice the Dharma. Maybe if you say this the like kind of the random says to immediately to coming cross, it is like intrusive circumstances. It's like a render. It is like coming across some obstacles and to stop really to practice serious Dharma. And that is also often to concern it to, through the mindfulness. If something happened, maybe we can to try to avoid. Why not? The 8 incompatible propensities that leave no freedom to practice the Dharma. Like I would say the propensities, it is a little bit kind of to make the far from to like this way of. Maybe it is the like some in our obstacles to make the separation of the liberations. And maybe it's like samsara and nirvanas. And we are more interested through the propensities, also incompatible, or we can to say the direction of samsaras. And then it's like a nirvana's way, direction of the nirvanas, it is like propensities, or like kind of the diminish, or kind of the stopped these directions, leave no freedom, this kind of stuff. And the people who are tightly bounded, their worldly commitment, wealth, pleasure, children, relative, and so forth. And this is like kind of too much desire attachment to these things. Like I want to commitmently to do the wealth, wealth is my liberation, wealth is my happiness, and also the pleasure is my happiness. Pleasures all the time collect like this. And also it's like families. It's of course specific the children say. And the children, so of course we can't say that. Why? Because we first time we created children, and once we created children, and then it's like we have a big kind of task. There's no choice to practice the Dharma. And also someone's like parents, children's until become the big, but still they need to take responsibilities, to take the kind of the to be boss all the time, is to give advice, and you need to collect wealth, pleasure, something like this. And also the relatives, and it's like kind of to making the confidence relative, and protect to the relative, and to make a kind of happy to the relatives, and all the like kind of to bring the busy and hurry things. It's impossible to practice Dharma. So forth. At the soul, preoccupied with the strenuous effort, the initialed by these things, that they have no time to practice the dharmas, and like a kind of the put to effort, strenuous or initial, distracted, carried by these activities, the helping commitment of the world wealthy and pleasures for the children, relatives, and this kind of activities, and carried, we can to say, is like took our opportunities to practice Dharma by this kind of activities, then it's the like incompatible propensities, circumstances. There's no to practice the Dharma.